Hey, what's up, card fighters? Back with another match video here. This is LUQUIER versus SHOJODOJI. Now, this match was actually pretty close, but I did make some key misplays that I did want to go over. Cause again, this was the first time that I myself put my hands on the deck. I kind of just built it last minute before heading out to locals, or was this? Or this was one of my famous built it during my lunch decks. But we're gonna go ahead and get it started over here. We're gonna high roll for see who goes first. I didn't see who won that roll. uh, those I know I don't use my regular Pro Scion gaming dice anymore. That's just because like my girl got me these really cool like black garnet dice, and I just kind of like use those because she got them for me now. But we're gonna see SHOJODOJI go first here. He's gonna search top five for two stealths, put one to soul, put one to bind, and pass the turn here. I'm gonna discard the LUQUIER order here because we do have Falcate Performer. Thinking if I want to call anything else here for a rush. We do call a second Falcate Performer. And we do hit him for 2 damage here, which is really nice. He's going to look top 5 again, this time only getting 1. We were just discussing, like, if he only gets 1 target, it has to go to soul. He doesn't get to, because the way the card's worded, it says 1, not like up to 1, it says 1 goes to soul and then 1 goes to field. So he didn't really have a choice there. He's going to go ahead and call out Forktail here, get another stealth unit in soul, just get that really good deck thin. It's going to call a grade 2 in front of Forktail. I'm going to get a defensive trigger, which was smart on his part, but we're going to go ahead and 5k guard this. I'm going to discard Persona Ride here. I just prefer to, again, I prefer to keep a defensive hand, and since we aren't going first here, it's going to be harder for us to Persona Ride, and you guys are seeing my favorite play in the LUQUIER deck is Soul Charging a PG just to add it back to my hand for the follow-up turn. Go ahead and cut it up here, and I'm going to swing at the Vanguard. We're going to put the Rising Dragon in Soul, which is really good setup, and obviously this Falcate doesn't hit, so we're just going to pass turn. He's going to pitch a Forktail here for Ride. Notice that he's only been pitching normal units here, so that just kind of tells me that he's either saving shield in hand or he just doesn't have shield in hand. Which that's what it seems to be looking like right here. He's going to swing here for 21. Debating whether I want to take this or not. We do end up just taking it since his Vanguard's only 13. My idea here was that he'd have to give it all to Vanguard. Checks the front here, so we are going to 3. That's 20, so we guard with a 15, and we take the last hit. So we're at 4 to his 3 here. Just looking at my soul, thinking what I want to discard. We end up discarding another Persona Ride here, just because we're not really in a position where we can keep it, and we literally soul charged our last Persona Ride. So there's no Persona Rides happening this first game. But we're going to counterblast one for LUQUIER's skill. Pudding looks like a grade 3. Oh, okay. I was just telling. Okay, so this is what happened here. Let me put it on pause real quick. So what happened here was that he bound 2 of my rear guards, but forgot to, like, because I don't play SHOJODOJI every day, he forgot to tell me that they go back to my hand. So I basically do like a little bit of reverse here on what I wanted to discard, because like that changes things. So like, because he didn't tell me, like, I just basically took back discarding my Persona Ride and discarded a Falcate Performer instead because I don't need 2 of those. But again, we're doing the thing. We're gonna Soul Blast one to countercharge one here, and we're gonna use Rising Dragon here. Put Breathing Dragon into Soul to draw a card. And we're gonna call out Falcate Performer here. We're gonna Soul Blast the order here. Target the Rising Dragon. So we're gonna swing 25 at the Vanguard, which he guards with the front trigger, which seems to be the only trigger in his hand. We're going to recall the Rising Dragon here. We're going to use its effect to put a 2 into soul to draw a card. We're going to get a critical trigger here. So we're going to give the power to the grade 3, and then we get a front trigger. He decides to perfect guard here, and he had 2 perfect guards in hand, so he was able to stave off the attacks and keep Persona Ride. And then I was just debating on what 2 cards I wanted to put in Soul. I decided to put the grade 1 and grade 3 in Soul to draw a card. I left out the Rising Dragon on purpose as an interceptor, and he's most likely going to bind it, which means I won't technically lose it. Which actually he decides not to bind the Rising Dragon here. So I still have it as an interceptor. This is what I was talking about in the other match video, where sometimes you just kind of have to leave the Rising Dragon out on the field as an interceptor, even though like it's not ideal, but you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and perfect guard the Vanguard here. This is 33, I believe. This is 15 now, and this is 43, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, I think that was also 33. So I immediately add that bound card to my hand, making sure I don't forget about that. We Persona Ride here, our only Persona Ride of the game. We're going to put what looks like a Rising Dragon into Soul for Luke's ability. Call out a Rising Dragon. So this is your ideal board, is just double Rising Dragon. Target your Rising Dragon for the restand. So you just have 3 really big attacks. So we're going to Soul Blast 1. So first we're going to put a card into Soul to draw a card. Which looks like we put Persona Ride. Soul Blast 1 for the Breathing Dragon. And then we're going to Soul Blast the Order. Target the... And he just takes the attack. He really didn't have the hand to guard this assault. So he's going to go first again here, and we are going second, but this is a deck that really doesn't mind going second, because, like I said, like, it's one of those decks where, like, going first, or, it would prefer to go first, because you don't really have, like, a large hand in the early, but, like, it's one of those, like, cool, like, these are my favorite types of overdress decks, to whereas, like, going first or second doesn't really matter too much to you, like, depending on the matchup. We're just shuffling up our deck here, making sure we get a really good randomization. Damn, bro, you shuffled enough cards for 10 duels. Draws a Blitz or a PG for turn. Discards a normal unit. It's going to do top 5 search. Puts a grade 1 stealth unit into Soul. And puts the grade 2 into Bind Zone. We're going to pitch the grade 3 countercharger here. Calling Falcate Performer. Shoving the grade 3 countercharger into Soul. We don't have any rush here. And this game 2 is the game 2 where I fumble, where I could have possibly won, but I just made like a key error. I'll bring it up when we get there, but I believe it was like on my either like turn 4 or turn 5, like I made a key error to where it's like I didn't, he was just changing his sleeve because one of his sleeves ripped. I didn't make follow-up for my next turn, so when my next turn happened, I just like couldn't multi-attack. I could only make 3 attacks. He's going to swing for 10 here. We guard it because we didn't want to get critted. And he's going to swing for 13, which we take that. Thinking here what I want to discard. I discard a Rising Dragon. And then we're going to look at top 7. Now, I believe here we're forced to, yeah, we soul charge a piece here. We didn't really have any good defensive options besides triggers, but I don't really want to soul charge a trigger, like, intentionally. I'd rather, like, have it be soul charged on my grade 3 turn by RNG. Put a grade 3 into soul, looks like Hysteria. Swing 18 at the Vanguard, shoving Rising Dragon into Soul, really good here. Thinking about one to pass. Oh no, rear guard. I attacked the rear guard. Which, yeah, that was actually like a really good play on my part because of attacking the rear guard was really good because he needed that card and he couldn't protect it. Well, he could have attempted protecting it, but I could have easily just attacked it again. So again, I'm putting my bind zone next to my hand just so I don't forget to add it back. So he's Soul Blasting 2 here, calls out the 1 and calls out the 2 of the ride line. Appears to be on no soul here. So this is 21. We take that attack. We damage another order here. And he's going to Soul Charge 2. And we damage our OT as well. So that's going to go ahead and pass the turn here. We're going to draw. Going to discard the grade 2. Soul Charging 1. What do we add to hand here? Looked like we Soul Charged a trigger. So do we add the trigger to our hand for defense? Oh, we put Rising Dragon into our hand. We're going to call out the Rising Dragon here. We're going to put the order to Soul from hand to draw a card. And then we're going to put a critical trigger from our hand. And we're going to call out the critical trigger. I believe this is where I fumble, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is where I fumble. This is where I fumble. Because I called out the critical trigger. Wow, I fumbled really early. I thought it was like turn 4. This is like immediately turn 3. So this is the reason I say this is my fumble is because I have a Falcate Performer in my hand, and I damaged 2 orders. And that's currently the only order I have access to right now, and I actively chose not to soul charge it back because like I felt like at the time it was more important to soul charge to like use that freaking critical trigger, which I don't know why I hard tunnel visioned in making my Vanguard like 28, but I hard tunnel visioned in making my Vanguard 28, which actually didn't matter because he's just gonna take it. Yeah, he's just gonna take it. Like, it actually didn't matter. Like, I hard tunnel visioned into that play, and it's actually what like loses me the game. Thinking about what I want to soul charge here, we put the Rising Dragon and we put the Breathing Dragon to soul to draw a card. To be fair, I felt safe, even though like I do lose. Like I felt safe at this time. At this time, I felt safe enough to where it was like, like I realized what I did. Like after I did it, I was like, well, shit. And I didn't want to call over. I didn't want to call over it, which I should have. I didn't want to call over it. Should have called over it. And like that really just like again, this is what loses me game 2. Like the fact that I didn't use Falcate Performer is literally what loses me game 2. Because I believe I take these last 2 attacks. This is like 33. I believe the other column's 43 if I'm not mistaken, because he called it out. Yeah, it's 43. It's most definitely 43. Arguably, I could have guarded that, and if I did, I would have not been punished and gotten the last order card. But, you know, we're getting punished really hard for that fumble. We are getting punished really hard for that fumble. So, we're at 5 here. We shove that to soul. We're going to call out a Breathing Dragon. Call out a Rising Dragon. Soul Blast, Countercharge. Call out Falcate Performer here, even though it's like little too late. Oh, I guess we don't call out Falcate Performer here. Oh no, we're using the Rising Dragon first, and then we're calling out Falcate Performer. So we're gonna head swing here. He Blitz Order PGs. We check 2 blanks. Swing. And then we're going to swing, which doesn't matter. He just PGs this move. gonna Soul Charge the Grade 3 and Breathing Dragon to draw a card. And my hand honestly isn't looking that sexy, to be honest. Like, I think he could have survived. Or no, maybe. Yeah, I think he could have survived, but like that just like that was such a huge fumble. Like that was literally such a huge fumble on our part, and that's what loses the game here because he uses the order to Persona Ride. He's gonna call out the grade 1 here. He's gonna swing 33, which we guard for 38. Debating how I want to guard here. And I think I was like shy by like 10k shield or like 15k shield. Which I think I gave his Vanguard a 1 to pass, and he broke it. Because I was off by like, I was like, I need to eat one of these anyway. The only way I survive is like if he checks blanks, and he didn't check blanks. So this forces us into a game 3. I do get to go first here, which is nice. Shuffling up that deck because we're shuffle fiends. I'm gonna put 1 back, so our hand is pretty decent. Gonna pitch a Rising Dragon here, passing turn. Our opponent pitches a grade 1 stealth unit, top 5s, puts the grade 3 into the bind zone, and then puts Forktail into Soul. So that's just like really good setup for his next turn, or not next turn, but like for his turn 3, because now he's gonna be able to call that from the bind zone on turn 3. Plays a Forktail here. I believe he Soul Charged another copy of the grade 3 here. So again, just more setup for his next turn. He goes for the rush here. We take it. And we do 5k block this, I believe. Yeah, we 5k block this. We draw. I'm going to pitch a 2 here. Look at top 7. I believe we're just forced to Soul Charge a piece here. No. We're still going for the defensive play. So we Soul Charge a PG here to add it back on our turn 3. So what's the play here exactly? Call out. I'm going to Soul Charge. Call out. Soul Charge. Swinging at that. We get the order here, which is really good. Swinging at his other grade 2, and then we're going to swing at the Vanguard. So we're just cleaning up his board here so he couldn't just move them back and then just call out attackers, which he only gets 1 off of this again here, which honestly makes sense. He got 2 off his ride line, and then he used the Forktail. So it makes sense that like he whiffs. He chooses to swing at the Rising Dragon. I guard for 15, and that passes the turn here. We're going to discard the Blitz Order PG here, but we're going to add back a PG, so it's really not that dire. We're going to Soul Charge the Order here, calling out 3, which we honestly don't have that great targets. Like, we're going to call out the Interceptor. We're going to call out that grade 1, and then obviously a 0. Okay, we have a critical trigger in Soul, so yeah. We're going to Soul Charge 1 off the grade 1 here. So I'm going to swing 21 at the Vanguard. I choose not to use the order because I'm not guaranteed to have one on my next turn. I don't have a way of guaranteeing it. We do get a critical trigger here. Decide to give the power there. We swing for 24 here. Or no, 34. And then we swing here for 30, 25. The reason I swung weird like that was because I wanted to make the other column a magic number with the critical, even though it was slightly weaker. Calls out the grade 3 here. Soul Blast 2. He's just going to get rid of that interceptor. So he's leaving the Rising Dragon out, which makes sense as a potential attack target. He's going to swing here for 18. We decide to take it. We get a front trigger. And I believe I just no-guard his Vanguard here, if I'm not mistaken. Because this Vanguard's only 13, so I want to force him to give all effects to Vanguard. He's going to swing at the Rising Dragon. I'm just asking him what the second number is. Thinking about guarding it. We do decide to guard it, and he swings again. So the reason that I guarded the Rising Dragon was I wanted to bait him into it swinging into it again. So basically, I only had to guard with one card. We're going to counterblast one here. Put the Breathing Dragon into Soul. We don't have, like, super sexy targets here, actually. We're going to call the crit back out. Thinking about my unit placement here. Yeah, we're going to Soul Blast 1 for the 5k to the front row. And then, of course, the units I called get 5k. We're going to call out that grade 2 again. Call out the grade 3. The only reason I called out the grade 3 here was for Hysteria, because Hysteria is going to get the 2k here. So Hysteria is 18 by itself, 23, and then it gets plus 8, so that makes Hysteria 31, which he guards the front trigger here. And then this is 20, 24, 29. Give 2k to the booster here, so we're going to swing for that magic number of 28. Thinking on what I want to call out from Soul here. Which it just ends up being Hysteria again. I didn't have like exactly the most sexiest targets. So Hysteria is gonna swing for 30 here with a crit, and then thinking on what I want to do here, we're gonna shove the Breathing Dragon and the grade 3 from the back row into Soul. He's gonna use Chalice here. He's going to Soul Blast 2. He's going to put both of them into the bind zone, so they're going to go back to my hand at the end of turn. He has a PG in hand. He decides to keep that. So he swings here for 33, I believe. Get a defensive. He's going to draw a card. So he's going to swing for 23 here. We PG here. I believe I was trying to play around the overtrigger, ironically enough. And he swings here. This is 33, I believe. And we guard for 15 accordingly, and the other one's 43. We draw. Looking at our options here, we don't have many. We call a Rising Dragon. We're going to Soul Charge 1. And I believe that got me the order card. Yeah, I top decked the order card off of the Rising Dragon here. So we're going to call out a Breathing Dragon. We're going to call out Hysteria and grade 0. Soul Blast 1 to activate the Breathing Dragon. And then, of course, all the cards I called are going to get plus 5. I'm going to Counter Blast. I believe I target... I don't remember what I target, to be honest. So, oh, I'm actually at 5 here, so this is going to get plus 5 for each of my standing rear guards. So that's going to be a plus 20. So that's 43 by itself. Then we're going to swing with Vanguard, recall it. He's going to perfect guard here. We're going to get a front trigger. I'm going to swing again. It's only going to get the plus 15, but it's still a very large number, and I believe he OTs at damage here. So I do go for one of his rear guards, and he still decides to block it. And then we're going to put the grade 0 and the grade 1 into soul to draw a card here. He's going to put those two into bind again. Decides to call everything out. I believe this is only 17, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I was just double checking. That's only 17. I know passes Vanguard here since this OT is out of deck. Decides to give it all to that rear guard. I guard off the OT myself, and then I perfect guard. Draw, we Persona Ride off the rip. And this is actually what wins me the game here is Hysteria, because obviously you see I am out of resources. So what we do here is, I was just trying to hard draw into boosters. That's why I used the Rising Dragon. Yeah, see, so I drew into a booster, and I swing for 23 here. We get nothing. He gets a heal trigger here, which is interesting. I attempt to swing with this rear guard first, and then I realize, no, I need it standing for the Hysteria. So the Hysteria is going to get a plus 20 here, so this is actually 43, which was too much for him. He only had 3 cards in hand to guard. If I did misplay, and let me just pause this. If I did misplay and a swing with the other column first, I believe he probably would have been able to guard. Yeah, because he did get a defensive, so he probably would have been able to guard that with like 15k shield. Oh no, I think he was still short. Yeah, because he had like two 5ks and a 15, so I think he was still short no matter what. But you know, the correct play was to swing with the Hysteria first, because it's gonna get 5k for each one of standing rear guards, and that is actually what clutched me the game. Shout outs to Ryan for shout outs to Ryan. I put him on this card. This card's good. He told me it was trash. It's good. Won me a game, bro, when I had nothing. Won me a game. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. If you do want to purchase our playmat, again, shout outs to my big boy Ryan. He actually did, you know, help support the channel and purchase a playmat. The links are in the description down below. And yeah, later.